Hi, you nine. Yeah, I've started recording some videos and uploading it to my YouTube channel to go through some of the answers of some of these lessons. I've done lessons 3 and 4 already, so just make sure you're not watching these videos before you do the actual task. So do the task first and then have a look at the video and check your answers. Hope you're all okay. Okay, so this is for Sherlock Holmes lesson 2. You had to read the passage from Oliver Twist by Charles Dickens. In it, the boys live in a Victorian workhouse and are in the dining hall, eagerly awaiting their evening meal. It's quite a famous scene. Um, the reason why you're reading this is because although it's Sherlock Holmes, that's still in the Victorian era, so you get an idea of the sort of poverty that was around then. Task 1, find out the meanings of the words in bold. The first one has been done for you. Copper. It's a large boiling pot, really, used for cooking. Porringer is a small bowl for porridge. Assiduously means with great attention to detail. In this case, they're eating the food off their fingers. Gruel. It's actually just oats, water, and salt, which is what the Scottish people eat. But sometimes they had bits of meat in it as well. Oats, water, and salt. But that would be their main meal, so not very good. Devoured means eat hungrily. And voracious means to have a wild appetite. Okay, task 2. List 3 things that you learn about life in the workhouse in the text. You could have had, hang on, I'm recording. You could have had all boys. The workhouse is this particular part of the workhouse is just all boys. The room in which the boys were, let's say that the room in which the boys were fed shows that it's all boys. They eat gruel, ladled the gruel, and that they're all very hungry. And the quote that I've chosen for that is, "Suffered the tortures of slow starvation for 3 months." All right, Louis, I'm just recording the answers.
Hello.
This is year 9. Okay.
Hi, Year
All
9.
right, thank you, Louis. So, task 3, underline, highlight how you know how hungry the boys in the workhouse are. Choose to and explain the effect. So, you want to, hopefully, you embedded some quotes here. I've written out some answers here, and I'm going to do that every time you've put the quotes in. Remember, just choose small quotes to make the sentence work for yourself. So, I've put, the boys are clearly shown to be hungry by the fact that their bowls never wanted washing. Dickens is using dark humour to show that the boys polished their bowls with their spoons by eating every last scrap until they shone again. So I'm embedding the quotes, making it work with my sentence, and I've got the explanation somewhere in between, okay? Another one I've used here. I've talked about an anecdote, which is just a story to show something. An anecdote is used to illustrate how hungry the boys are when one boy who is used to being fed properly, for his father had kept a small cook shop, hints that he might happen to eat the boy who slept next to him, should his gruel per diem not be increased. The fact his peers implicitly believed him shows the reader how crazed with hunger they actually are. Okay? A per diem means Latin for every day. So there you go. Okay, question 4. This is an evaluate question. A student, having read the extract, said, "This extract shows how horrible it was to live in the workhouse." To what extent do you agree? How does the writer show you this? Try to feed context if you can. I guess that means try to include context if you can. So whenever you have a statement like this from a student, it's always good to reply to whether you agree with the statement or not, and it's always good to try and see both sides of it. I think there's very little to say anything good about the workhouse, apart from perhaps you could say that it's a sense of camaraderie amongst the boys. So you might want to mention some of that. But it is clearly being shown as a horrible place by Dickens. The bits that I've picked out are the bowls never wanted washing. The boys polished them with their spoons till they shone again. Yeah, which means that they never washed them up because they were too clean because they ate them all. The fact that they were so hungry that they looked at the copper with such eager eyes as if they could have devoured the very bricks of which it was composed. So they was eating the actual infrastructure of where the pot of gruel is on. The fact that they suck their fingers assiduously with sort of great detail to get any last scrap of food because they are starving. And it also actually mentions more explicitly they suffered the tortures of slow starvation for 3 months. So these boys are starving. If you've read Oliver Twist, it's because the person in charge is actually nicking all their money. I've forgotten what her name is now. Anyway, come back to that. There's also a bit of dark humour here. One of the boys whose father had kept a small cook shop. So if you wanted to get a bit of context here, you didn't only go to a workhouse if you were an orphan. You went to a workhouse if your father or your parents lost their job, and they would get put in a different workhouse if they couldn't find any work, and you'd be separated from your family, and you'd just be made to work. You'd be exploited, basically. But he's so hungry, he says he might happen to eat the boy who slept next to him, which he might have been having a laugh about that. But the fact that everyone who he told that to implicitly believed him tells them just how desperate they really are. Then you've got this bit. There are bits that show that they are all in this together. Like, for instance, they held a council together. Lots were cast who should walk up to the master. What that means is lots, they would take short straws, take loads of long straws and one short straw, and whoever picks the short straw, they have to do it. And unfortunately, these lots were cast to appoint one of them to go and ask for seconds, because whoever's going to ask for seconds is going to get in trouble. And unfortunately, it fell up to Oliver. But the fact that they've got a council, and the fact that they're organising themselves like this, shows that there's perhaps a certain level of camaraderie. So you could disagree with the statement and show that they are actually helping each other out. And then later on, there's some more suggestions about this. The boys are in it together. They whisper to each other. They wink at Oliver, giving him some sort of encouragement to do it. The neighbours nudged him. So I know it's not. It's pretty horrible, but you might want to say that's a good example of camaraderie. But then the extra ends saying that they are desperate with hunger and reckless with misery, which shows just how horrible the workhouse is. And even Oliver, he's surprised by his own words that come out of his mouth. He's alarmed at his own temerity, which means his sort of forwardness and bravery, just by asking, "Please, sir, I want some more." And the extra ends there, but he actually ends up getting put in isolation and beaten for this. Okay, good luck. Check that against your answers, and keep looking for these videos for the next couple of lessons. Okay, bye.